Sonder. Sonder is the realization that every stranger around you is living a life just as deep and complicated as your own. Sometimes you look at someone for just a few seconds, a person sitting on a train, walking across the street, or staring quietly out of a window, and suddenly realize they have an entire world inside them, their own memories, their own heartbreaks, their own fears, routines, regrets, and people they love. To you, they are just another random face in the crowd, but to someone else, they are everything. That strange feeling is called sonder, and for a moment, it makes the world feel much bigger than it normally does. Hireth is a deep emotional longing for a place, time, or feeling that can never truly return. There are moments when you miss something you cannot go back to anymore. An old home, childhood summers, late-night family gatherings, or maybe just a version of yourself that disappeared with time. The word comes from Welsh culture, and unlike simple nostalgia, Hireth carries grief inside it. Because you are not only remembering the past, you are mourning the fact that it's gone forever. Sometimes an old song, a familiar smell, or a random memory can bring that feeling back instantly. And suddenly, you miss something you cannot even fully explain. Opia. Opia is the strange emotional vulnerability created by intense eye contact. Sometimes looking into someone's eyes for too long can feel unexpectedly overwhelming, almost like they can see parts of you that you normally keep hidden from everyone else. Without saying a single word, eye contact can create intimacy, tension, honesty, and discomfort all at once. That's why people often look away after a few seconds. Not always because they're shy, but because being truly seen feels deeply uncomfortable. And strangely, some of the strongest emotional moments between people happen completely in silence. Juska. Juska is the habit of repeatedly imagining conversations in your head that never actually happen. Many people do this without even realizing it. They replay old arguments while showering, practice future conversations while walking alone, or imagine perfect responses hours after a moment has already passed. Inside those imaginary conversations, people finally say what they truly feel, something that becomes much harder in real life. Juska reveals something very human about people. Sometimes we speak more honestly inside our minds than we ever do out loud. Limerence. Limerence is an intense emotional obsession with another person driven by fantasy and uncertainty. A single text changes your entire mood. You overthink tiny details, replay conversations endlessly, and imagine emotional futures that may never even happen. It feels powerful, addictive, almost impossible to control. But limerence is different from real love. Love slowly understands reality. Limerence becomes obsessed with possibility. And strangely, the less certain someone feels about the relationship, the stronger the emotional obsession can become. That's why people often confuse limerence with love, because emotionally, it can completely consume a person. Rubetosis. Rubetosis is the unsettling awareness of your own heartbeat. Most of the time, your body quietly works in the background without asking for attention, but sometimes, suddenly, you become intensely aware of your heartbeat, your breathing, your existence, and once you notice it, it becomes difficult to ignore. For some people, that feeling feels calming and grounding, but for others, it becomes deeply uncomfortable, because for a brief moment, you become painfully aware of how fragile being alive really is. Kenopsia. Kenopsia is the eerie feeling created by empty places that are normally full of life. An abandoned playground at night, a silent shopping mall, an empty school hallway during holidays. Nothing dangerous is happening, and yet the silence feels wrong somehow. Humans naturally expect certain places to contain movement, sound, and people. So when all of that suddenly disappears, the emptiness starts feeling unsettling, not because the place itself is frightening, but because the absence of life feels unnatural. Ellipsism. Ellipsism is the sadness of knowing you will never see the future. Humans are naturally curious creatures. People want to know what the world will look like hundreds of years from now, what discoveries humanity will make, and how life will continue long after they are gone. But one day, the world keeps moving without you forever. New generations will exist, technology will evolve, entire civilizations may change, and you will never see any of it. That quiet existential sadness is called ellipsism, a strange reminder that human life is only a very small moment in an endless timeline.